America is a country as diverse as the people who live here. The men and women who serve this beautiful country come from the rocky and sandy coasts, the lush rural South, the Great Plains of the heartland, and the inner cities. Regardless of where they call home, they are all American veterans, and they come to you for help. The official term is client advocacy. Your mother might have called it good manners, being a friend, or just helping people. At VBA, advocacy for veterans is central to our culture and key to all our work. It's certainly about policies, processes, and procedures. The transformational changes we have seen are making us more responsive to veterans and to their needs. And so advocacy is definitely also about people. People who could benefit from a little of your time and a lot of your attention. These people stood up for you when our country asked for their help. These people were ready to serve, ready to fight, and ready to sacrifice. These people are the pride of our nation. They are our veterans. This means that the most important thing we do at the VBA is to stand up for our veterans. Our primary objective is to identify the veterans that require assistance and ensure that the country provides them the help they need. Our veterans are our clients, and we are all veteran advocates. The VBA commitment to honor veterans, their service, and their sacrifice begins at the top. From the day he was confirmed as Secretary of Veterans Affairs, retired U.S. Army General Eric Shinseki has steadfastly maintained the need for VBA to be a veteran-centered organization. In a statement to the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, Secretary Shinseki said, "Veterans will be the centerpiece of our organization, our client, as we design, implement, and sustain programs. Our support to veterans and their enrolled family members must go beyond that of servicing customers to a relationship based on trust and positive results over a lifetime." Veterans have sacrificed greatly, investing of themselves in the security, safety, and well-being of our nation. They are clients whom we represent and whose best interests are our sole reason for existence. It is our charge to address their changing needs over time and across the full range of support that our government has committed to provide to them. Candace Lopez, a clinical psychologist and coordinator of the Disabled Veterans Transition Assistance Program in the Waco Regional Office, epitomizes that attitude. She was presented the 2010 Outstanding Individual Customer Service Award at the August 2010 VBA Leadership Conference in Cleveland.
When a veteran first comes in to meet with me, I always think back to my first day on the job and not really maybe understanding everything that I needed to and how overwhelming that could be and how many questions I might actually have. And so my job is to make sure that they get the right answers, that I anticipate the questions that they might need answers to, so that when they walk away from my office that they feel like that we were there to help them, that we were their advocate, and we were not there to be their adversary and throw a lot of forms and a lot of paperwork and a lot of rules and restrictions in their way, but to help them navigate that. So again, that they walk away with a positive experience, because it can be very daunting, I think, to deal with a large bureaucracy.
Veteran advocacy is for everyone at VBA. No matter what your job is, you are performing a function that helps the VBA help its clients, our veterans. You may not formally meet with or interview our veterans, but you see them every day, which means you have the power to make their lives a little better.
I was in my yard one day when my neighbor came over to talk. She mentioned that her grandfather was getting on and needing more and more care, and she wondered if the VBA could do anything for him. I asked her why she thought of the VBA, and she mentioned that he had two toes blown off and shrapnel damage to his foot in World War II. She said he never made a claim because he was just doing his duty, and she was sure that it was too late to do anything for him. I got the specifics and looked into the case. I called him and told him how much America appreciated what he did for us and that we wanted to repay him for what he did for all of us. A little while later, my neighbor stopped by again, and she told me how happy he was, not so much to get the checks, but that people do care and do remember. I had never asked her before where he suffered his injury, and she looked at me and said, Omaha Beach.
Our advocacy mindset should ensure that our veterans receive the service and the respect they deserve. It is how we demonstrate that we are worthy of their trust. It is the words of a soldier's general, the late U.S. Army General Omar Bradley, that best captures the spirit of the VBA mission. We are dealing with veterans, not procedures. Their problems, not ours. Therefore, our mission is advocacy, delivering benefits and services with the timeliness, responsiveness, and compassion that our veterans and their families deserve. Every VBA employee, contractor, or provider shares in the responsibility to deliver excellent service to the veteran and to each other. We do this by treating everyone with respect, establishing relationships, and building bonds of trust. VBA leaders recognize that satisfied employees are most likely to represent the organization well and handle interactions with a kind of extraordinary care that exemplifies veteran advocacy ideals. The VBA, therefore, is acting on the results of climate surveys and other indicators with that advocacy in mind.
I think some of the most important qualities for a person who wants to work with veterans and be an advocate is to be passionate, first of all, about the work that you do. Not to see it as a job, but you're really there to serve somebody, and you have to come with a servant's heart, I think. You need to be empathetic. You need to listen. Oftentimes I think people don't listen to what their needs are. We assume we know what they want and what they need, but we need to stop and take time to listen to our veterans and then help guide them through our process. And then really just care. Take a moment to care and realize that these are people. It could be our brother, our father, our sister, and we would want our family members to be treated well. And so if you come to it, I think, thinking them as a friend or as a family member, then you're going to give great service every time.
I was getting checks, and my cousin was cashing them for me. There didn't seem to be much money left after all the fees. Jackson, my neighbor downstairs, well, he called the VBA, and boy was he mad. Well, Jackson was mad, not the VBA person. And this nice lady came out, and we talked about all sorts of things, and about like how my sister was going to be my fiduciary. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I know it's a good thing. Well, I got a lot more money now, and somehow my electric bill, it just gets paid. Yeah, everything's real sweet now.
Every decision-making process at the VBA begins with one critical question. How will this decision impact the delivery of benefits and services to our client? The answer must then measure up against this yardstick. Is that good enough for our veterans? At VBA, we are creating a veteran-centered environment in which our clients can contact us about their benefits and receive accurate information quickly. Our goal is to ensure that this data is easily accessible and comprehensive. We welcome and encourage the active participation of veterans in the claims process. While shopping in a local home improvement store, Rebecca Manning, a VBA loan specialist and part of the VACO Lone Star team in Nashville, encountered a man who appeared to be blind working as a greeter. They talked a little, and he told her that he was going blind and would surely lose his job, and he did not know what his family would do. She gave him her home telephone number and told him she and her husband would see what they could get for him. When he called, they learned he was a veteran who was married and caring for his elderly mother-in-law. They also learned that he had no medical insurance and was a diabetic. Rebecca insisted he go to the VA and see a doctor. Her husband agreed to pick him up the following day and took him to the VA hospital. The veteran was eventually seen by 3 doctors who explained that it was critical that he have surgery immediately. Her husband picked him up and took him to his appointments for each surgery. Rebecca learned he might be eligible for a pension, and she obtained the claims information and helped him complete the forms so that he would have some income. While he was undergoing the surgeries, his employer terminated him. Because of the surgery, the veteran was able to retain partial vision in one eye. The VA sent him to blind school and provided him with a talking watch, computer, and other devices associated with being blind. He also has VA transportation to and from the VA for his medical and claims-related appointments. It was a happy day when the claim was approved and the veteran received a VA pension. He now has a means to support his family as well as the medical care he needs. Rebecca remains in contact with the veteran to this day. As stated by Secretary Shinseki, our mission is advocacy. We need to think in those terms rather than in terms of policy processes or procedures. We need to be more responsive to the present and pressing needs of veterans. For VBA, veteran advocacy is dependent on each of us demonstrating a set of attitudes and behaviors that characterize how our staff should interact with our nation's veterans and with each other. The veteran advocacy concept is about doing the right thing the right way with the right attitude. It is a commitment that we must exhibit in all our contacts. The VBA's advocacy-centered focus should be evident in every face-to-face interaction, telephone conversation, and written correspondence, including email. The attitudes and behaviors characteristic of client advocacy impact how we approach our work, whatever our work or work environment. These attitudes and behaviors define our interaction with veterans and are expressed in 5 key ways by being trustworthy and professional, respectful, flexible and helpful, compassionate, and committed. In the 5 upcoming scenarios, the VBA approach to veteran advocacy is clearly illustrated. In this scenario, a caseworker shows what it means to be trustworthy and professional.
Hi, I'm Pedro with the VBA. Are you Carla?
Yes.
Hi, yeah, we spoke on the phone. Sorry I'm a little late. I got lost.
Behavior number 1 is to be truthful and honest.
No problem. Why don't you come on in and have a seat?
Thanks.
Thank you so much for stopping by. I didn't exactly understand what you were talking about on the phone.
Oh, that's okay, because I've thoroughly researched it for you. And I think some of the new changes coming along are going to benefit you and make you quite happy.
Oh, great. I like good news. Does this mean more money in my next check?
No, sorry. Things like this take a little time, so it may take a while before you see some changes. But don't worry, I'm going to stay on this. And as soon as I know where things are in the process, I'll let you know.
Okay, that's still good news.
Great. I have a couple of instructions I need you to look over here. Please read that. Clear so far?
Totally clear.
Super. Okay, well then I'm off to go ahead and get things started on my end on this. Now we may not see results for a while, but don't worry. I'm going to stay on this until we do.
Sounds fair enough.
Now, listen, I've been through this before, so I've learned a couple of steps to kind of help speed up the process. Here's what's going to happen. First, we're going to go ahead and fill out this paperwork.
In this scenario, a caseworker exhibiting a respectful attitude takes time to help a veteran in need.
Yes, let's discuss this later. I have a client here now. Thanks, Mark. Goodbye.
Good morning, I'm Karen. How can I help you?
Hi, this is my wife Lisa.
Hello.
And I'm Roger.
Please, Roger, have a seat. Let me move these things aside for you. What can I do for you both?
Well, it's kind of a long story.
Please, take all the time you need. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, well,
Karen listens carefully and intently and refrains from doing any work on the computer. If necessary, Karen will take notes, making sure to handwrite them so Roger knows that she is actively engaged with him and not with some other issue on the VBA network.
Unfortunately, this will take a while to work through, but I will see it gets done as soon as possible, and I'll stick with it until we get it all figured out.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
No, I want to thank you for all you've done for our country and the sacrifices you've made for me and my family.
No, it was just my duty.
It was more than that. You've done so much for all of us here at home, and especially here at the VBA. We appreciate what you've done and what you've gone through. Speaking of going through unpleasant things, this is the government.
Like everyone else at the VBA, this employee has responsibilities, a schedule to keep. But she remembered that the veteran always comes first. She set aside what she was planning to do and dedicated a few brief minutes to the veteran who needed her help. A flexible and helpful attitude means focusing on the solution, not the problem. When working with a veteran requiring special adaptive housing, the VBA employee in the next scenario explores possible solutions in and out of the box. She listens attentively to the veteran's questions, and when she knows it's something that she can take action on right away, she does it right then and there without delay. She listens to what the veteran needs and wants. The employee provides assistance suggesting alternatives without forcing her own opinions on the client. If necessary, the employee will coordinate across functions to achieve the desired solution, even if it requires coordination with people and organizations not typically consulted. Some answers are not obvious. Be open to change. Be willing to question everything, even if it goes against how you did things in the past. You may find a new and better solution. Take the veteran's point of view. Assist them in ways that they desire. Ensure that they are comfortable with your approach. This is what being an effective advocate is all about. Showing compassion means being fully engaged with the client and the issues, clearly demonstrating your care and concern. Every Memorial Day, thousands of veterans ride their motorcycles around the National Mall in Washington, D.C., in an event called Rolling Thunder. The display is designed to commemorate American service members that are missing in action or held as prisoners of war. Representatives from the VBA are always on hand to meet veterans, observe, and listen carefully to their concerns. VBA employees are encouraged to use eye contact, body language, and tone of voice to show their empathy to these service members. It is the very presence of VBA personnel at Rolling Thunder that illustrates the respect they have for all veterans, not just the ones that come into a VBA office. This respect must be conveyed in all we do. Whether in face-to-face interactions or written correspondence, ensure that your communications are client-centered, personalized, and empathetic. Never use form letters unless absolutely necessary. Remember, you may be the veteran's last line of defense. There are so many people trying to take advantage of the disabled and elderly. It is up to you to provide protection and demonstrate support for this vulnerable population. Laura Jones, the 2010 Jewel Award winner, expresses it this way. Don't just listen to the ones that jump up and down and scream a lot. It's the ones that are silently sitting in the corner that need you the most. Laura Jones was presented the Jewel Award, named after Chicago adjudicator Jewel Mariferin, for best personifying the caring spirit of service to family, friends, community, and veterans. Qualities which characterize Jewel Mariferin's contributions to the Department of Veterans Affairs and everyone touched by him. Always think in terms of veteran advocacy first, rather than in terms of policy, processes, or procedures. The final attitude is committed. Know that all of the preceding attitudes will be impossible to facilitate without your commitment. You have to go the extra mile. you know that the veteran has already gone that far and beyond. Courtney Washington, Jan Dew, and Melissa Watson of the Nashville Regional Office went that extra mile. In 3 months, the Nashville Month of the Death Benefits team was able to eliminate all the barriers that were stopping automatic payments to over 10,000 surviving spouses. This phenomenal task earned the team the 2010 Leo C. Werschmidt Jr. Outstanding Customer Service Team Award, accepted on behalf of the team by these 3 ladies at the August 2010 VBA Leadership Conference. In some cases, they had to actually call the surviving spouses to get one more piece of information or one more document so that they could issue the payment. They stepped out and made a tremendous difference in the lives of over 10,000 surviving spouses. Don't be satisfied with good enough. Value your work and the work of others, and remember the yardstick with which we evaluate our efforts. Is that good enough for our veterans? If you cannot assist with an issue, connect the veteran with someone who can. Get involved. Volunteer to help. Make those critical community connections. Connect with and support the veterans in your community. Take an active role in veterans' issues and follow up to ensure any issue is actually resolved. The veterans you will meet have been through a lot. In many cases, their entire lives have been turned upside down, and they've had to try and work with what has come their way. Some of you are veterans, and we appreciate your desire to serve your fellow veterans. At the VBA, we stand up for those who stood for us. We stand up as advocates because despite the hardships and challenges, our veterans haven't given up. They may have made their way through a maze of government bureaucracy, landing at your doorstep. Now, you must ask yourself the question that only you can answer. How far are you willing to go for them?